So today has been one of the most legendary trading days within Trader Society and is by far going in the history books within our community. Just to explain to you some of the things that ended up happening in yesterday's video and within the key levels and watch list section, I had told members that the daily candle looks super bearish and we are likely going to gap down. I also told them the best level to buy call options was at 410.25, which was the exact low of day and bottom of the channel. And you could have scalped call options today at that bottom level 7 times for profit selling into the spikes. Not only did it stop there, I told members that we were interested in swing trading and I gave out the swing trade idea. We sold into the rip. We did very, very well on that. About 40% of the people who voted on the polls said they're holding overnight. They're going to bank on that as well. I also told people we're going to close at 411. And if you want to try puts, you can do puts above $412. We also had a member who was just promoted to moderator. This guy has an insane story. He's been in within Trader Society over a year now. He goes under an anonymous name of Ninja, and he alerts about 2 to 3 trades per month. And they're typically swing trades. That's what he mainly does. And this guy's latest swing trade before this one, he ended up swing trading SPY calls when it was at 415 and 416. When we had a lot of people bearish, everyone was bearish. Some people were swing trading puts. This was the only guy who swing traded calls. He sold the next day at 420, made a killing. Then his next trade was today, and he prepared it the day before. He told people he's going to be swing trading NVIDIA calls. He said he has information that not many people know about, and he shared within the chat some of the reasons on why he was swing trading NVIDIA calls into earnings. He ended up buying 3,200 contracts on NVIDIA calls at a 320 strike, July expiration, and he's going to be making millions of dollars tomorrow, and he's retiring. He is moving on to bigger and better things. He's going to be within the chat still, just not as active. He typically alerts 2 to 3 trades per month. With that being said, man, let's get into the analysis. I'm going to recap the trades. I ended up going 5 for 6 today. I had 1 loss, and my only loss was not trading at my key level. My theory was right on the trade, but I got stopped out because I wasn't in the best entry. Then I got into the best entry, made all my money back, and then the streak just went on, man. I hit calls at the 410.20s twice. I hit puts at 411 3 times for all wins with this 30-minute pattern I was using that we discussed in my last video. And then I also told people we're going to close at 411. And then I told people if you want to do puts, you can do it at 412. The analysis and commentary was 100% spot on. There is no other group in terms of competence that is preparing people to trade the best setups at the best prices 1 day in advance, giving them the exact low of day. And I'm going to show you how we are able to do that. There is no excuses if you are not able to make back the cost of Trader Society by watching these videos before you even join the program. We had so many people today make back the multiple costs of the program, man. Let's get straight into it. So let's discuss 410.25, man. We have so much to cover. This has been such a legendary day, but let's start off hot with 410.25. So in terms of 410.25, if we go to key levels, this is where, I prepare members to trade the best setups at the best prices. So last night, I explained to them all the levels that we're interested in. And this is the key, man. 410.25. This is the bottom of the channel, gap fill reversal, or gap close reversal strategy. This is my favorite trading strategy that's made me the most of my money, along with 30-minute patterns. And I said 410.25 is the best level for calls. So the question is, was 410.25 the best level of calls, or am I full of shit? So in terms of 1 day in advance, this was the best level for calls. If you look right here, this is the exact bottom. And if you are scalping in and out, you had 7 opportunities. 7. Look at the chart, man. You had 7 opportunities to buy the dip. How many opportunities did you take advantage of? I ended up taking advantage of 2 of those opportunities. And one of those opportunities that I took advantage of was the best time to buy calls, man. Look at this. I told my team right here when I was done posting that video that I made before this, I even said towards the end of this video, I'm getting ready to buy calls. I identified this 410.30 level. You could see right here, I told my team, the best price for calls is at 410.30. And I told them within the chat at the same time, we're going to close at 411. You're going to want to buy calls at the lows. This is going to try to close strong. And I also told them the exact, you're going to want to look to do puts above 412. If you want to do puts, don't do 411 anymore. Do puts above 412. It all banked, man. And I learned my calls in real time like I always do. If you go to 410 calls, everything I'm saying is documented. You could search it within the chat. I was in calls at 410 calls. By the way, for those of you who are new to the community, you can look at the documentaries of the best people within the chat. You can search their usernames, search ninjas, search Dimitri's search top G's. You can search the best traders and you can look at all their trading logs and see their analysis and see everything it is that we're doing, man. Ninja, he had the best trade today. You guys know I didn't like NVIDIA, but I don't swing trade into earnings. I don't like doing that. I don't like taking the risk, but he took the risk and he's going to be making millions of dollars tomorrow taking that risk, man. The point of Trader Society is to explain, to be self-sufficient, is to explain to traders what it is that you're doing in real time and to help educate others and bring others up with you, not to blindly follow people. But this was the most insane trade idea, man. You can see right here at 12:19 p.m. he told people 320 calls, July 21st, 3,200 contracts. And if you just look at this guy's trading logs, you will see everything beforehand on the preparation and his reason behind. It's insane. I'm not going to be going over it in this video. It's all within the chat. But anyways, man, it's private information. I don't want to share everything. But anyways, in terms of 410.25, how did we come up with this level? How did I come up with the low of day 1 day in advance? The same way I came up with the low of day 1 day in advance previously towards this 404 level. SPY had a massive gap up. So a gap up means it's opening up higher than it previously closes at 400 and 436, right? So it had a gap up at 404.36. And after that, it just kept on trending up. So that's a massive overreaction to the upside. So if it's just going to crash right back down to fill the gap at the bottom of the channel where the bear trap was created, literally the worst level to buy puts, what do you think it's going to do? It's going to start to reverse. It's going to start to spike. It's going to start to go bullish. And it had that gap close reversal at 404.25. For those of you who are in the community and follow this channel, you are well aware we were smashing calls at the 404 level. Now, in terms of this, same exact pattern. Compare the left to the right. There was a gap up right here at 410.25. Massive bear trap, massive move to the upside. If it's going to crash back down just as fast as it went up, it's going to have an overreaction to the downside, and that's going to try to reverse once it hits the gap. When the gap fills, it's going to try to have the reversal. And we like to target the lower gaps at the bottom of the channel right here and the higher gaps at the top of the channel right here at 419, 418.79, like we did at 420 on the daily chart. Remember how we kept smashing puts at 420 because it was at the top of the channel and only down 3% from 52-week lows, man. The strategy works. It's truly amazing, and it works for swing trading as well. We had some people take the risk of swing trading calls, and then we had other people decide to sell and lock in profits like I did, man. I have no regrets of selling my calls. All of my base hits add up. They started at a couple $100. Now they add up to thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. It adds up. A month, it can add up to $100,000 plus. All of this adds up, and you compound the account. You take out some profits along the way. It just keeps on snowballing, man. It's truly incredible what you can do with trading options. But anyways, that's how we came up with the 410.25 level, literally the exact bottom and the floor where the bear trap was created. So that's how we came up with it. And there was plenty of confirmations as well to be buying calls at that level. Look at the 5-minute chart, man. Shortly before I bought those calls, we formed a dragonfly doji on the 5-minute chart. You guys know Japanese trend reversal, gray candlesticks at the lows of the channel, at the gaps are the best confirmations to buy, and at the higher gaps are the best confirmations to short to buy puts on, right? You guys know this, man, and you can use those Japanese candlesticks on any time frame, but they were forming a lot on the 5-minute time frame. You could just visually see there was a doji right here towards our level, and then it spiked. There was a doji right here towards our level, and then it spiked, right? So 5-minute chart gave it all away. Also, plenty of confirmations on the 1-minute chart as well. I ended up using the 1-minute chart to determine that was going to be a great level for calls. So the reason why I said 410.30, the reason why I said that is because right here, SPY had a breakout above resistance. See how there's resistance at 410.40 to 410.30? It had a breakout, and it never retested this 410.30 level right here. This is the resistance right around this 410.30. The bottom is the support. It had a breakout above this resistance, nice breakout, and then it never retested. So if SPY is going to break above our key level, right, and then it's going to drop right back down below, I'm buying calls at that previous resistance because it's going to try to react to support because, it had a nice breakout, and it's the best level to be buying calls at, literally the low day of the channel. That's where you want to buy calls, not puts. Now, how did I come up with the 411 close? I told people we're going to close at 411. How did I come up with that, man? So the way I came up with that was this, and I even said it in the video that I posted before this. There was a gap to fill here. I was looking at the pattern. It's the same exact pattern. SPY gapped up, and then it came crashing back down. It reversed the gap. So there was a gap to fill here. Look at this pattern. Look at this pattern. See the doji? You got the bearish doji. See the doji? You got the bearish trend reversal doji. All downhill, all downhill. Now look at this. This is why I said we're going to gap down in terms of last night. Bearish candlestick in the middle of the channel. Bearish candlestick in the middle of the channel. What happens the next day? It gaps down. What happens the next day? It gaps down. So I'm looking at that, and I'm saying, okay, where did it bottom at? And then you could see right here, it bottomed at the gap. It bottomed at the gap with the same daily candlestick pattern. It bottomed at the gap at 404. It bottomed at the gap at 404 here. And then right here, there's a gap to fill at 410.25. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying the same pattern keeps repeating itself. So if a pattern that I captured in real time before everybody else, that's how you get rich. You catch trends before everybody else. You identify them beforehand, and then you make money profiting off of that history and confirmation that's going to repeat itself, right? That's how we're able to be so accurate, because these patterns are repeating ourselves. We're basing trades off of patterns that are repeating themselves, and we use confirmations to confirm that they're going to repeat themselves, right? But that's how we're able to be so accurate. But how did I come up with the 411? You could see right here, the gap was at 404.36. The low was at 403.74, and it closed at 405. So it bounced like $1.25 from the low. And what was the low of day on the SPY? The low of day on the SPY was at 409.88. So if that pattern repeats itself, it's going to close like $1.25 above the low. And the reason why it was unlikely for it to go lower is because that was happening right before the close. It was at the bottom of the channel right before the close. So if history is going to repeat itself, it's going to try to close and, try to spike and close, at 411, and it could even push higher, but it's going to try to close, at 411. And another reason why I loved calls so much in terms of the 410.30 level, this was this bullish pattern that I identified. If you watch the videos, I literally said, SPY's going to try to retest this 412. Because we have this wick here, people will think this is bearish, but it's going to try to retest the pump of this 411 wick. You could see it recently did it right here. You got this wick right here, this top wick. It goes up to the wick into the close. You see that into the close, it tests the wick, and then it sells off. That's why I said puts at 412, because the top of this wick at 412 is where it's going to try to drop. And plus, it's going to try to close at 411, because if you measured the move and did the math and captured this pattern in history like I did, you would have done the math. You would have said, okay, low of days at 410. Last time it closed like $1.25 above the low. So that's where you're going to want to, that's where it's going to try to close. So if we're ripping above, 411 and it's going into 412s towards the top of this wick, that's where you want to hit puts. And I called this out all strategically, man. I gave members the best plans you could have possibly given them, man. Everything I said, man. The 412, my 412 level, I told him I didn't take this one, man, because I was done. I was up nearly 5 figures by this time. But I told him, man, puts at 412 and then calls at 410. And then I updated my 410 level to 410.30 because I noticed it was going to bottom at a higher level. And then I hit calls at the 410.30 level, right? But I prepared them best prices possible. And then we had this pattern where I did puts on, and I banked on this, man. I hit puts 3 times at this level. I played puts 3 times at 411 because there was a bearish confirmation to play puts. You have this, see the red trend reversal candle? See the red trend reversal candle? What happens next 30 minutes? It spikes above the high of that wick. It spikes above the high of the wick. What happens after that? It starts tipping. You see the wick, you see the top wick, you see the top wick. What happens after that? It pushes up a little bit higher above that previous closing of the 30-minute, and then it just sells off and drops back to lows. Then it just sells off and drops back to lows. So guess who was smashing puts when SPY was ripping above the previous closing of this 30-minute right here at 411.20? When it was ripping above that, guess who's hitting puts? I am, because I saw the pattern. I saw the pattern that it's going to try to crash when it rips above the 30-minute candle. And I didn't hold those puts for 30 minutes. What I did was I bought those puts 3 times at above 411. And I sold in the money every single time. I scalped it 3 times. It went above 411 3 times. It dropped like 30, 40 cents each time, locked in my gains for very nice wins, couple $1,000s each win. And I did it every single time. Bought the rip above 411, sold the dip. 3 times in a row instead of holding and hoping for 30 minutes. And that pattern repeated itself. So that's how I was able to do so well on that particular trade. And that's reasons why I sold my swing trade, because I said it's going to try to drop back to lows. And then when it dropped back to lows, I identified that 410.30 was the most competent level for calls. And then I literally alerted within the chat when I was done making the video. I said it towards the end of the video as well. 410.30 right here. Best price for calls is 410.30. And then I said I'm in 410 calls. And then I sold into the rip, made my money, man. And then I called it. Those were the trades. That's how I came up with that overall analysis. And another thing is, man, it's just common sense. If that history is going to repeat itself and it's only going to, spike, if it's going to close at 411, if it's going to close like $1 above from where it bottomed, and the reason why I was so confident that the history is going to repeat itself is because it's been repeating for like 2 days straight now, that pattern that I showed you, right? But common sense says, if it's going to spike $1, if it's going to close, not spike, if it's going to close $1 above the low of day, what do you think is going to happen before then? Before then, they're going to try to sell it off. They're going to try to make it look bearish. That's another reason why I was hitting puts in the 411s. But I wasn't hitting puts in the 411s here because, like I said, they're going to try to retest it to 412. But that's not going to happen until later of the day because that's when it makes sense, man. And then they're going to crash it at 412. It's all going to happen at the very last minute. And the pattern even confirmed it. There was a clear bearish pattern that we were going to sell right back off, which is why I sold my calls swing trade profit. And then I rebought calls at my 410.30 level and banked again, man. The pattern was there. Red trend reversal, green wick, sells off 30 minutes. Red trend reversal, green wick, sells off 30 minutes, man. It was all there, man. This was such a very, such a legendary day, man. There was nothing as incredible as today in terms of overall trading lately, man. This was truly amazing. And it just goes to show you, if you catch a pattern in a trend, history will repeat itself. And if you watched my last video, I made it very clear that, the hope for the bulls is we could gap up, because if you look at this pattern, it's repeating itself. You have this bearish candle right here, and then you have this bottom wick. You see the bottom wick, and that's at the gap. See how it's at the gap, right? The bottom of the channel, this gap right here. The same thing just happened. You have this bearish candle right here, and then you have the bottom of the wick right at the gap. That's why I told people, if you watch the video, I said, that's the hope for the bulls, that we don't have one more red day and gap down. But then again, even if we did have one more red day, that would likely be the bottom, and you could just add if you have further expirations, no worries, right? So that's the hope that I gave for the bulls, and that swing trade idea did work out. Just because I didn't take it doesn't mean that you don't have to take it. I have my reasons for not doing things, and I have no regrets for doing what it is that I'm doing. My base hits add up, and I will only get better, and I made nearly 5 figures on the day. I have no regrets, man. I have plenty of time, man. But this is truly amazing, guys. Today has been such a phenomenal day. In terms of our trading plan heading into tomorrow, these are the things that I want to bring awareness to. So NVIDIA had a crazy move to the upside. It hit nearly $400. Then things start to drop a little bit. Right now, during extended hours, SPY's at 412.80. So these are our key levels, man, and this is what I want you to understand. Based off of this daily chart and how things are looking, based off of this, right? It looks like there's going to be traps created. What I'm thinking is 414 is going to be a good level for puts, and 411 to below 410, under 410 is going to be the best level for calls. That's some of the patterns and some of the trends that I'm seeing. But I want you to understand, based off this pattern, this is very bullish, and we could have a very bullish day. So based off what I'm seeing in this pattern, this could be a very bullish day tomorrow. It really can be, because history is consistently repeating itself. So the main thing that I want you to be aware of, and the main levels that I want you to focus on heading into tomorrow are 4 levels. 418.79, there's a gap to fill here. This is the best level to short, and this is the best level for puts. So I want you to save that level, and that's going to be your best level to try puts at the higher top end of the channel at 418.70. Also 420.10 if you get stopped out, right? So those are your 2 levels for puts. 414, this is your middle. So SPY is having a gap close reversal right now. Everything's bullish at the moment. 414 is your middle. This is previous support that hasn't been tested. Now here's what's going to happen. If it reacts as a resistance and they reject it, we're going to start to drop back to 411. If it breaks out and has a nice breakout, wait for it to go back down to 414. Try calls with a stop at 413, like 40, 413.50, right? Those are my recommendations, man. So if we hit 414, have a nice drop, try puts on the retest. If we break above 414, have a nice breakout, try calls on the retest. Or you can try the initial reactions, but you have to determine if it's forming a roof or a floor first with a tight stop. And then if you get stopped out, you can switch sides or sit on the sidelines, right? Just be careful with puts a little bit, because that is a very bullish confirmation that we are getting on the SPY, that it can close strong. And just understand, if we break above 414 and form support, it's going to go very bullish, and we're going to hit that 417 zone. That's where we're going to go. And we will likely drop initially off 417 zone. And then 411 to 410 is your true best level for calls. And like I said, 414 is the make or break gap. If it reacts bullish, we go to 417s, push the next gap. If it reacts bearish, we go to 411 to fill the next gap. 411 to under 410 would be the call zone. That's my overall thoughts. That's my overall analysis. If you trade the middle, you must determine if a floor or a support, floor, roof, or ceiling is forming. Or you can just wait for it to crash, spikes back up, short the retest, wait for it to break out, spikes back down, buy the retest, right? Those are some other options that you can do, right? Within Trader Society, we're going to be alerting and trading these levels within real time. Like I said, the levels that we're interested in trading at are under 410 for calls. 411.09, we're going to be eyeing calls. 414 could be puts or calls. The daily chart is saying calls, but we're not going to let that bias us, but we are going to be keeping an eye on that and paying attention to. 417, we're keeping an eye on just for a quick scalp on puts. That's a lotto trade, not that great of an idea. And then 418.70 is going to be our best level for puts, gap close reversal. And then 420.10 is going to be our best level for puts, previous support that has not been retested. Those are the best levels that we are planning to trade out. We're going to continue to crush it, man. Our levels, there's nothing better than our levels, man. You cannot beat our levels. They take time to trigger, but when they trigger, they make people money, and they can make people a lot of money if you are consistent and disciplined enough to trade them and you compound your account. So if you want to be a part of Trader Society, man, it is the first link down below in the description. You get access to the moderators, you get access to the network, to the community, to the Discord server, my real-time watch list, my key levels, my real-time trade alerts, my live trading streams, my live trading voice channels. You also get access to the video lesson library, the course, the trading system, the gap trading strategies, the price action trading strategies, risk management, position sizing, psychology to the trade. If you want to learn how to trade and you want to learn how to read the chart like a master, this is the right program for you, man. I'm telling you, we know how to read the chart. We know how to trade the chart. We know how to trade price action. That's what we do. And there's massive benefits to understanding how to read price action. The ability to read price action told me to sell my swing trade for thousands of dollars of profits. And if I didn't do that, I would have gave back all my profit. And I understand if I would have held longer, I would have made more profit. But guess what? I could have rebought that dip, which I did. Now, I didn't hold it for very long because I didn't want to swing trade in that situation. But I still made my money back, man. That's the beauty of having short-term reads on the market. You can turn a swing trade into a day trade. And then if it drops back down to your day trade level, you can look to get back in with some of your profit, man. That's the beauty of it. Instead of holding hopes and holding through all those fluctuations. I could have, held my 411 puts and hoped for a bigger win, and it would have worked out. But instead, I scalped it for 3 times, and I made more money scalping 3 times than I would have made within that bigger drop. So if you want to learn how to scalp and trade like a sniper, this is going to be the right program for you. We also teach you how to swing trade, man. Our swing trade level banked 100%. We told people if you see the bullish tip at 410.25, like you did at 404, you're going to want to swing trade calls, and those calls absolutely bank SPYs now at 413. I have no regrets in selling. You can do whatever it is that you want to do and take the risk that you want to. I'm in a situation where I don't have to take risk, man. I don't have to take risk anymore. I'm in such a situation where if I wanted to, I can be as conservative as I want it to be, but I do like taking risks, but it has to make sense. So with that being said, it's the first link down below in the description you want to join. It is a one-time fee. It is lifetime access to the entire program. I'm telling you guys, I'm not going to be doing this forever, man. I'm likely going to be retiring from trading by 2030. I am planning to retire from this by 2030 to 2035, and then I'm going to be moving on to bigger and better things. I'm not going to be announcing what that is. I already do know in terms of what some of those things are going to be. It has a lot to do with like online universities, online education, discovering and teaching more ways to make more people money. And also, just other ways in terms of living life and other skill sets besides making money as well. I'm going to be moving on to bigger things and replacing myself from the company one day because like I said, man, I am interested in doing like an online university and I am looking to retiring from trading, man. I understand I'm truly passionate about what it is that I'm doing, I am truly passionate about it and trading and teaching, but it gets to a point where you do no longer have to do it. There's levels to this. And that's what one of the things that I learned from this ninja, trader within the chat room. He reminds me of G-War because G-War, he had his exit at tens of millions of dollars as well. This guy's going to be exiting tomorrow, likely over 10 mil. It really opens your mind up to what can be done. And then it makes you realize, even though you're passionate about something, there is bigger and greater things to be doing, and there's bigger and greater passions to be found within this life, in terms of just trading numbers and trading charts like a video game on a screen. There truly is more and greater things to life. And I'm going to be very interested in looking into those areas and, making like a university out of that, making like an online school and then an in-person school. And like I said, it's going to be more than just ways to make money. There's going to be plenty of ways to make money, not just the stock market, not just crypto, plenty of other ways to make money. It could be freelancing. It could be through AI, plenty of other ways, multiple professors, multiple teachers. And then also I'm interested in not just teaching people how to make money, but just other things, in terms of health, wealth, love, and happiness. Like I said, man, I'm going to be on to bigger and better things eventually. But this is going to be great, man, in terms of the documentary and everything that is I'm doing and documenting. But those are some of my goals. Those are some of my dreams. Those are some things that I will accomplish as time goes on. But right now, I'm just going to continue to focus on mainly trading, and then I will slowly start to expand into my other interests and passions and hobbies as well. So with that being said, man, I will see you guys within the chat. It is the first link down below in the description.